The men are always going to be there. I promise you. The men, they're always going to be there. They ain't going nowhere, baby. So you might as well center yourself in your own life and just let the men, just deal with them at arm's length. Welcome. My name is Queen. If you are new to my channel, welcome. It's a little bit about me and my channel. I'm Queen, and this channel is all about uplifting women, okay? I want women out here having their best life, okay? I want to teach women how to decenter men, okay? How to prioritize yourself and how to level up, okay? Like most women, I used to be, at some phase of my life, I used to be a little pick-me-sha, okay? At one point, I used to be very male-centered. And I can honestly say that the worst times in my life were when I was male-centered. This is not dissing men. This is not a male-bashing channel or video. It's just more so, exposing men, male psychology, and also understanding men so that way you could use this in your arsenal so that way you could deal with them when it comes to getting what you want, or just learning how to not deal with them so you can cultivate your own life. So without further ado, let's get into this video, okay? 10 things that happened and that I learned when I chose to decenter men. It changed my life. Okay, decentering men. I've never been happier. Okay, I have never been more fulfilled, and I have never accomplished as many things as I have as when I decided to decenter men. So without further ado, we are going to get into this list. I saved the best for last in this video, so please stay to the end so that you don't miss a gem of what I tell you, okay? So the first thing that I noticed when I chose to decenter men is that my insecurities lessened a ton. Like, my amount of insecurities, it just decreased, because I do feel as though for a lot of women, the source of your insecurity is usually going to come from men. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of women out there who, they're going to talk about your hair, your skin, your nails. They're going to point out your flaws and things like that. But I feel as though when you are male centered, the insecurities take more of a blow when a man is expressing his insecurities. And you also have to think of it, men have a lot of access to how other women look. And so when he's liking these girls' pictures on Instagram, you're seeing this girl who has like Coke bottle frame, okay, cellulite, no stretch marks, perfect smile. She looks perfect. And so it's a blow to your self-esteem as a woman when you see a man liking these photos, because in your head, you're already going to be comparing yourself to this woman that he liked, if that makes sense, on Instagram. And so in your head, you're thinking, I'm never going to look like that, or I don't look like that. And so that plants a seed of insecurity in yourself, because now you're in comparing mode. You know what I'm saying? We can also say the same for men watching porn. These women have perfect bodies. You know what I mean? These women are fit. They've had surgeries. They literally look like walking Barbie dolls. And so a lot of the time what women are dealing with when it comes to men consuming this type of content is that maybe the man no longer sees them as desirable because they're comparing you to this woman that they are seeing on their phone. Also, a lot of things that happen when it comes to infidelity with men, it takes a hit to your insecurities as a woman, because he actually may cheat on you with a woman who is the complete opposite of you. He will sit here and tell you all day long how he doesn't like BBLs, how he doesn't like makeup. And then he cheats on you with a girl who has a BBL and she's wearing makeup. And you're just like, what? Like, huh? Like, what? So when you decenter men, your insecurities are definitely going to decrease, because you no longer have to worry about a man taking in things that it's going to either have you compare yourself with that woman, or he is going to compare you with that woman. And that is going to feel like a weight off of your shoulders, because a lot of women ruin their lives or make their lives way harder than it has to be because they have these insecurities. And one thing about insecurities is that insecurities are not real, okay? Insecurities really don't exist. Insecurities are created by other people, okay? Someone has an idea of you in their head, and it might be from what they've been exposed to in childhood, what they've been exposed to in the media. What insecurities are is it's the idea in someone else's head, and now they're trying to project it onto you. So they want you to fit the vision of how they want you to be in their head. And over here, we're never going to give anyone that power. ever, okay? Especially not a man. The second thing that I noticed, I no longer felt obligated to get married or have children. And as a matter of fact, I don't want to do either one of those things. Don't want to get married, and I have made the vow to decide to stay child free. A lot of women, especially when they turn 30, they start freaking out because they're like, I have no man, I have no child. What am I going to do? Where are the good men? What about my eggs? They're going to turn scrambled, and women really start panicking. And so what a lot of women do, they're going to take whoever is there, and that's who they end up marrying, and that's who they end up having children with. So in other words, they settle. That is a very dangerous place to be in because you never want to settle for anybody. I understand as women, we have a biological clock. I do understand that, it's rough out here dating. The dating market, it's got a lot of poop and pee and all types of, crazy things inside of it. So it makes it harder. But when you make the decision to decenter men, you no longer have that weight on your shoulders of feeling like I'm getting older. What's going to happen? The harsh reality of it all is that there's just going to be a lot of women out here who they're not going to find the love that they once thought was out there. Maybe they're going to have to take a different route to having children. Maybe they will find a person just to have children with, and then that'll be that. Or freeze their eggs, or go find a sperm donor, or have a community of women raise the child that they choose to have. And I want to let you know that there is nothing wrong with that. You don't have to fit a societal norm, okay? Marriage and children, that is what those are, okay? Those are societal norms. Those things were created by someone, okay? You're a human having an experience. And the good thing about you being a human is the fact that you can shape your life into whatever you want it to. You don't have to get married. You don't have to have children. You don't have to do anything just because it's what you're supposed to do, or it's because everyone else is doing it. You are a human with your own brain, with your own free will. Use it. Don't feel ashamed and don't feel burdened with the fact that you may feel behind. You're not behind, girl. I'm telling you. It's plenty of women out there finding their husband at 40, having babies that are healthy at 40 years old. Take your time and don't think about any of that. When you decenter men, you don't think about any of that. And things typically happen when you're least expecting it and when you're not looking for it. So don't freak out, sis. It's going to be okay. I promise. The third thing is that when I decided to decenter men, I accomplished so much more than I've ever accomplished when I was in a relationship or when I was male-centered. When I decentered men, I entered multiple bodybuilding competitions. I went on ahead and took a big risk, and instead of staying staff for work, where I was living in the same place, going to work at the same place, living like everyone else, the mundane life of just go to work, go home, same place all the time, I made the decision to travel for work. So I get to pick wherever I want to work in the country and work there for months at a time. I decided to do that because I said, you know what, I'm going to decenter men, and I've always wanted to travel, and I thought it would be pretty cool to be able to have the luxury to travel for work, and I could choose wherever it is that I want to go. You end up accomplishing a lot more when you have decentered men because you have more time, okay? You're not on Hinge or Bumble, constantly swiping, setting up dates because you're so male-centered that you don't feel like you have a purpose in this life unless you have a man in your life, okay? Unless you're centering men or trying to keep a man or trying to figure out how to get a man. I'm telling you, the men are always going to be there. I promise you. The men, they're always going to be there. They ain't going nowhere, baby. So you might as well center yourself in your own life and just let the men, just deal with them at arm's length. Take the time that you have to pour into what it is that you truly want to do. Make use of your time because you really get more money. You can express yourself creatively. There's so much more that you can accomplish when you choose to decenter men because you now have the available time. The next thing that I realized when I chose to decenter men was that I took the time to build my friendships and the relationships with my family. I took that time to build them to be stronger. I now have a great family relationship and I now have a great friendship dynamic. I think one thing that we don't speak enough about is how when women women become male centered, they tend to abandon the opinions of their friends and family when it comes to the man that they're with. I'm not always saying that what your family and what your friends tell you will always be in good faith, nor am I telling you that it's always going to be solid advice. But I feel as though more times than not, a lot of women will dismiss what their friends or family are telling them about a man that they're with, but the woman ends up being so male centered, she doesn't even want to listen to what it is that her friends and family may have to say. Just for her to go through the relationship and then realize that her family and friends were right. When you have a solid network of family and friends that you can rely on, that you can trust, you trust their opinions, you will really start to notice it more once you have decentered men. You don't want to be that woman who it's like, it's me and my boyfriend against the world when it comes to my friends and family. That man could leave you tomorrow. I'm just keeping it real. And when you've abandoned people who have actually wanted to protect you, wanted to help you, you're going to be looking around and ain't nobody going to be there because you chose to abandon your friends and family. So decentering men allows you to cultivate healthy relationships with your friends and your family. The fifth thing that I realized after decentering men, I earned way more money. I always make the most money single, okay? I always hustle harder single when I'm not male centered because it goes back to what I said before about having more time. When you have more time, you can use that time to make more money. You know what I mean? You're not sitting here like, oh, well, let me cook dinner for Brandon or let me plan something out for Brandon, or you're not having to have all these extra plans on how you can impress your man or please your man or make plans with your man or just be available for plans that your man may have. Because at the end of the day, women, we're conditioned to have to sacrifice things in order to be with men most of the time. For a lot of women, the thing that you're going to sacrifice is your time. And so therefore you're going to sacrifice your money because your time is being taken up by a man. So many women end up abandoning their dreams, their hopes, their aspirations because they've replaced the work that needs to be put in to fulfill those dreams and those goals. They've replaced that with centering a man. So now you're going to pour everything that you have into a man to build him up into this great person. And in most cases, once he's built up, he's going to leave you, sis. And so here you are drained, tired, exhausted because you built another person up and you gave them the equipment that they needed. You built them right on up for them to walk away from you instead of building yourself up. I'm gonna just tell you this. No man, no real man is ever going to tell you or need you to build him up. Okay? Never. These men are grown. These men have had the luxury of having a patriarchal society on top of practicing misogyny. I promise you, he doesn't need any build. Okay? He's just being lazy, and it's not your job to help these men build them up. You should be building yourself up because you're the priority, boo. Okay? You're the main character in your life. Don't let these boys play you. Use your time wisely and use it to pour into yourself. Earn more money, girl. Get a side hustle, get a side gig, pick up a little something that'll make you more money because now you have the time because you're not using that time to plan dates and entertain a man. The next thing is that you are going to realize that you are not as emotionally drained as you were before. Men are fucking draining. You're going to sit here and be all in your brain about, oh my God, he didn't text me back today. So now you're going to be emotional, all in your head, trying to figure out, well, what is he doing? Who is he with? What did I do? That's emotional labor that you are doing. You're over here wondering if he's cheating. You're over here wondering, oh, well, should I look through his phone or not? He didn't speak to me today. What is he doing? I wonder if I'm going to be able to see him this week. You are filling your brain up with all of this emotional labor on what he's doing and being consumed with him in his life. And it's like, you need to bring that attention back to you, boo, because I can assure you, he is not thinking that way about you. He's not like,
oh, I wonder what Sandy's doing. You know what I mean? I wonder if Sandy's hanging out with anyone.
He is in his own little world with his own little thoughts. He is not pouring into having all this emotional labor over you like you are over him. When you decenter them, I'm not over here thinking about what Brandon, who he's texting, if he's going to text me back. I'm over here getting to the money, crushing my goals, looking cute, and trying to look cuter. Okay, that's what I'm over here doing. And that's what you need to do. Get rid of that emotional exhaustion that comes from being male centered. You're going to look more youthful. You're going to have more energy. You're going to be out here pretty and popping because you are not using the emotional labor that is required to center men. The seventh thing, you are going to be happier. It's going to be hard at first. I'm telling you, it's going to be hard at first, especially if you come from a very male centered family or you have a group of women who are very male centered. It's going to be hard at first because you're going to realize that it's going to be harder for you to relate to a large amount of people. You're going to realize just how many women around you are male centered once you decide to decenter men, because you're going to realize, oh my gosh, all my friends talk about are men and their problems with men. It's not even like they're talking about, oh, he took me out. They're never talking about the good things that the men are doing for them. It's always male problems. It's always male issues. That is always the root of the conversation when it comes to male-centered women. And you're going to be sitting here like, why hasn't she dumped him already? This is like the sixth time that he's cheated on her. Why is she still with him? And you're just going to be over here like annoyed. Because once you decenter men, you don't care about that. You know what I mean? Your happiness is going to increase once you decenter men, because just look at everything else that I've told you. You're going to have more time. You're going to make more money. You're not going to have to invest all of that emotional labor. Those are very important things that are going to be life-changing to you once you decide to decenter men. And the happiest demographic of women, so even statistics show you're going to be way happier when you are not male-centered. Number 8, you have a solid identity once you decenter men. Subconsciously, a lot of women do not realize that they are molding themselves into the identity of what a man wants her to be. You're not shaping your own identity. You are slowly becoming what a man wants you to become. This is the reason why once women get divorced, they drop the weight, because they no longer have to pour into a man emotionally. That's another big reason when men are like, why do these women always glow up after their marriage? Why do they always glow up, after their relationship is done? They are not having to pour any emotional labor into any men. They can finally have an identity for themselves, who they are. You're more than just a wife or a mother. You're more than just a girlfriend. You are a unique human. You are a unique woman who was on here for a deeper purpose aside from being a mother and being a wife. And men are constantly reducing women to that. Men are constantly reducing women to just being incubators who are here for male consumption. And so when a lot of women get divorced, they always say, I'm finding myself. What that means is that they have taken on the personality and the identity of who the man that they were with wanted them to be. You're supposed to cook, you're supposed to clean, you're supposed to be a servant, you're supposed to be a people pleaser. That is typically the identity and the role that most women are taking on, because that is what society is telling them to be. Fuck society, fuck their rules, okay? Fuck whatever it is that they're telling you. As long as you're not harming anybody, you can do what you want to do. Okay, so if you don't want to have children, don't have children. If you don't want to get married, don't get married. Do not ever allow yourself to become a shell of yourself to keep a man around, or to impress a man, or to try to get a man. Please, because that man could wake up one day and he could walk away. He could find someone else. And so here you are, you're all broken into pieces, and so now you have to individually put pieces of yourself back together, because that wasn't you in the first place. You sacrificed yourself for a man because you were that male-centered, all for this man to decide that he doesn't want to be with you anymore. And that's what I don't want that for you, boo. I don't want that for you, boo. Number 9, you rediscover your passion. I remember as a little girl, I always loved to dance, okay? Like, I'm obsessed with dancing. And so once I learned to decenter men and it was a practice and a lifestyle for me, I took dance classes, took pole dancing classes. I found my passion again for the gym. And so I ended up going headfirst into bodybuilding because I had the time. I could stay in the gym as long as I wanted to. I could prep my meals. And so that was one of my passions. And one of the things I always wanted to do was do a bodybuilding show. And I remember when I was with one of my exes, and I remember him showing pictures of the girls who were in the bodybuilding competitions. And I told him and I showed him and I said, I want to look like that. And I remember he was like, that's too much muscle. And so what did I do? I decided not to do a bodybuilding show when him and I worked together. So I had abandoned something that I was passionate about because I was so male centered. And so once I got out of that relationship and taught myself, how to not be so male centered anymore, that was the first thing I did. I did my first bodybuilding show. So think back to the things that you enjoyed doing before you got in this relationship. What were you doing? Because I can guarantee there is something, a hobby, something, a creative outlet. There was something that you enjoyed doing before you had the children, before you got married, before you had the boyfriend. And I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time you did it? When was the last time you were able to do it? And how much joy would it bring you if you were to be able to do it again, or at least be able to do it regularly? And if that spawns up an emotion in you, you know what I mean? Pay attention how you're feeling. If that spawns up an emotion in you, then that means that your body is telling you you need to pursue this passion because you have a feeling toward it. It's something that you actually want to do. Life is too short, okay? I want you to live a life that you look back on and you're proud of. I want you to look back on having a life that was fulfilled, that was full of happiness, that was full of purpose, because that's how it should be. You don't ever give up your hobbies for a man because you're so male centered. Always keep your hobbies, especially if it's good for your mental health. Do not ever abandon that to keep a man around. The very last, but the most important one, number 10, is that you have the freedom to live life freely, okay? Freely. You do not understand how my I don't give a fuck meter is like through the roof. It's through the roof because once I decided to decenter men, I have so much freedom. Okay. Like for instance, I used to never cuss because I'd be like, oh, men don't like it when you cuss. It's not ladylike, yada, yada, yada. Taking in all of these male opinions on how I should cater to myself. And it's like now I fucking cuss because I like cussing. Okay. Granted, I know the time, the manner, when, where. It's always people, places, when it is appropriate, when it is not. However, overall, if I can throw in a little cuss word every then and there, I'm going to do it because I'm living life the way that I want to live life. Okay. I got super muscular. Women aren't supposed to be muscular. Women aren't supposed to look feminine. I didn't give a fuck. I'm like, no, this is what I want to do. I don't care if you call me manly, I don't care if you call me swole. I don't care if you say that I'm not feminine. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm living life the way that I want to live life. I'm going to be 32 next month. I don't care about men telling me, oh, you're going to die alone with cats. That's great. Send me a cat then. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to even pay for a cat and the strays ain't coming. Go on ahead and come send me a cat. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, I could use a cat right now. You really, really understand how important it is and how good it feels and how liberating it is to live your life freely for you. Because at the end of the day, you are the only person that can live in your body. So when men are telling you, I don't like makeup, or I like, fresh face girls, or I don't like wigs, I don't like weaves, and if you actually like that and you're choosing to live your life doing things that you really don't want to do because you're so male centered, you are creating a life for yourself that you are going to be shackled to. You're not going to be able to live your life freely because you're not living your life the way that you want to. You have to live in your own body. So when men are telling you what they do and do not like, and you're choosing to conform to become that person that is catering to what they like and what they don't like, you are abandoning yourself. You are abandoning yourself. And as a woman, that is something that you should never be doing. Please do not ever abandon yourself to make a man happy, because at the end of the day, you got to live in your own body, girl. So when you're over here upset because you miss putting on your makeup, you miss putting on your weaves and stuff like that, you got to sit with that. He doesn't have to. You got to sit with that. And you got to sit with feeling like you are a shell of yourself now because you aren't living authentic. If you want to wear makeup, if you want to wear weave, if you want to do all these things that men say that they don't like, fuck them. Who cares? Do what you want to do. Because at the end of the day, why should they be put so high up on a pedestal where you find yourself sacrificing what it is that you want? You are given the gift of being a human that can live life however you want to live it. Like if you want to go outside and wear a pink highlighter suit that covers you up from head to toe, you can go do that. If you want to go own a business and become a business owner, you can go do that. If you want to wear wigs and wear makeup and do that, you can do that. Do not give up your free will for being male centered, because what is the trade-off? What is the trade-off that you get for sacrificing yourself to make a man feel comfortable? We're not doing that over here, boo. You're going to dress how you want to dress. You're going to look how you want to look. You're going to do what you want to do. As long as you're not hurting nobody, you have the freedom to do so. Okay? That concludes this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please, I want you to leave a comment below and tell me what has changed in your life after decentering men. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Mwah.